Hi everyone, welcome to Papa's Workshop. Well, today's project is Spawn. I am taking the FanArt, the oversized sign, and doing the tiling operation, and I'm also using some different techniques yet again. I want to show you that there's multiple ways to be able to do tiling and be successful on the X-Carve. So let's get started. Now all of these signs that I've been doing so far, I've used a reference point right at 21. But 21 on this one is going to be real close to this point. This one's fine. So what I think I'm going to do, just to show you you can use something different, I'm going to use 20 inches today for my reference point, because that gives me a nice point, clean point here, and on the other side it also gives me a nice smooth transition. Okay, now I've already opened up a box and I have this right here, so I'm going to go ahead and now set this to the correct size, and I'm going to put this as 1 inch long, and then I'm going to set the height of it at 0.128, just a little bit larger than the bit diameter that I have. I want to take that shape now and I want to have it sitting right here at this bottom corner for my reference point. And I'm going to type this in as 0 and 20 inches. And what that does, it will put it right on that point right there. That's where I want it. So that is going to be my new reference line for this piece. This is the backer board that I'm going to cut first. The other thing that I want to do, I want to expand this out a little bit, and I want to highlight it. And I want to make sure that it's cutting all the way through. And right now it's set at 0.52 and my board is 0.52. But what I want to be able to do is show you these tabs. I know I showed you in another video, but it really wasn't that clear. You can just scroll over on top of these and you get the X, and then you can just hold down the mouse and you can drag these to where you want it. And what you want to be able to do is bring it out to kind of a clear place so it's not in a jagged point. Now that moved the whole entire thing, so what I want to do is just come up, hit edit, unmove, and we'll go and try that again. There we go. Now I have 4 tabs, so I should have 2 tabs down here. I have one right down in this part, that will be okay, and I have one on the other side. So the tabs are set. I'm going to leave that just like it is. Now what I'm going to be doing is carving this top half first. So I have to move this entire section down to this point. So by being able to highlight this whole entire area, I can actually see what my y-axis is right now. And the y-axis right now on this bottom left-hand corner is 0.987. So I can subtract 20 inches from that bottom left-hand corner and then put that coordinates in, and it'll move exactly where it needs to be. So here's the math. I'm taking a 0.987, I'm subtracting the 20 inches, and that will give me a minus 19.013. So I'm going to go ahead and type that into the computer now for the y-axis. So at the computer, it's going to highlight just the y-axis, and that is going to be a minus 19.013. And we'll hit enter, and that moves it down. Now what I want to be able to do is confirm that point, and I can confirm it with the reference point. And the first thing, let's zoom in so that we can see that. And then I'm going to highlight just the box itself and confirm that it is showing 0 and 0, and that's perfect. So now all I need to do is just take my white box, we'll slide it over approximately where it needs to be, and then with this highlighted on the top portion, I'm going to change my y-axis to 0. And that will cover this up right here. And now this portion will carve. My XY home position is going to be right down here at this point. Just as you can see here, if you look closely, that is where the little dot is for the machine home, and that's what we're going to use for the workpiece. Now I drew a line on the vertical down the edge of my wood to be able to make sure that it was dead on accurate. And that way it's exactly at that point that I have shown you in other videos. That is going to be my XY home position. Had I not done the vertical line, that's a 1/2 inch space, and I could actually be off a little bit, and I did not want that. So by doing the little vertical line at the 20-inch point, I can align it exactly where it needs to be. Now all I'll need to do is clamp it down. I'm going to use the clamps for this one. Now before I carve this, the last thing I want to do is go ahead and hit simulate, because I want to make sure that there's no strange lines over here that I don't want to have cut. And you can see everything is completely clear down here, and it's only going to cut in this area right there, and that is great. Now I've got the carving actually running now, and a close-up shows my little reference point being right on the line, as well as the start point on each side of the carving. And I went ahead and drew that pencil line right at my 20 inches so you could see exactly where it was lining up. That's what you want to be able to do, and it's perfectly aligned. Now if you're new to my channel, please consider subscribing, and don't forget to hit the little bell so that you'll be notified of the upcoming videos. And oh, by the way, please leave me a comment, ask me questions about what you think about this process, and if there's anything that I'm not covering in the tiling process, please let me know in the comments below. Now with the box out of the way, I'm going to go ahead and highlight this entire object, and then I'm going to come over here and I'm going to, on the y-axis, type in the 0.987, and we'll move the entire figure back to its original position. Now I want to zoom out some and get this repositioned, and to confirm it, we're going to do the same thing we did before. Highlight that section, and it is 0 and 20, exactly where it needs to be. Next thing, all we need to be able to do now is highlight the box. We're going to slide that over, get it in its approximate location, make sure that it's clicked on the bottom, and we're going to put that in as 20 inches. And that will slide it down right there, cover up the top portion that we've already carved, and now we're ready to carve this bottom section. And again, this point is going to be my home position. So now it's time to go ahead and set up the wood on the machine itself. And now I have everything back in position. Only thing I needed to do was just remove those 3 clamps, slide the board along my bump stops, which is on my y-axis, until this point was right here at the XY 0 position, just as it was before. So that is my new home position. And then I just re-clamped down everything, and it's ready to carve. So this makes the process go actually quite easy and quite fast. Now back at the computer, the last thing I want to do is verify that there is no strange things that are going to be cutting down in this area or up in this area. So I'm just going to hit simulate. And there you see everything is going to carve exactly as planned. I like to be able to check the alignment, and you can see there that it just came out perfect. That's the whole goal. Now we want to check the other side also to see how that alignment is working. And again, you can see it's dead on. So that tiling method works extremely well. Now you can actually see the diameter of the bit there, and that's actually okay. So just a tiny little bit of sanding, we'll be able to clean that up after this project is finished carving. Now I've opened up the workpiece for the next part of the spawn, and I want to be able to look to see where I want to place my index line this time. We've used 21, and that would be a horrible place on this one because of all these little cuts, and that has to be cut out. If I drop down to 20, it's not much better because it would split the skull right in half. What I think I'm going to do is come down here and have it cut right through the P and the A. This is about the easiest point. So that number is going to be, looks like 16 would be about the best place. So 16 is going to be my reference point. So at this point, I'm going to go ahead and create my box. I'll slide that over out of the way. And I'm going to get my size of the box. I want that box to be 1.0 inches by 0.128. The depth of cut, I really don't need that to cut, but about 0.05. So that is set. Now, let's put it in place. That is going to be at the bottom corner. So that's going to be 0. And it's going to be 16.0. And now we can come over here and check it, and that's exactly where it is. If you want to highlight that and take a look, you can see that exactly where it's supposed to be. Now then, as we always do, I want to be able to set this up to carve the top half first. So I want to go ahead and zoom out some. Now I went ahead and highlighted the entire thing, and I want to be able to come up here and look. Right now, at the bottom left-hand corner, it is set, and it is showing that it's 2.487. So now, having done this before, what should I do? I need to subtract the 16 inches, that we're using 16 inches as my reference point. So I subtract the 2.487 minus 16. Okay, to subtract that, that is going to be 13.513. So I'm going to highlight that right there and put in minus 13.513, and that will move it down to exactly where it needs to be. Now I'm going to zoom out just a little bit. So that now has everything in place. Let's confirm my reference point, and you can see it is showing 0 and 0. Okay, so that is set. So what's next? We got to add my little box. So we're going to add my box to this. I'll bring that over. We're going to zoom out so we make sure that we are covering everything. I'm even going to make it bigger. Like I've said before, it doesn't really matter as long as we get everything covered. And while I've got it highlighted, let's go ahead and move this up to 0. So it's a 0 cup depth, and you make sure that it's 0. Very important to do that. Then we'll come back to the shape. We'll highlight one of these positions right up here at the top, and we'll change this on the y-axis to 0. Well, now it's moved right into position. So now we're actually ready to carve once I get the computer set up. If you want to confirm this, let's see right where it's going to go through. That's where it's going to go through. That's going to be just right. I think that's going to be about the easiest, simplest place to take and go through this. So at this point, it's time to go ahead and do the carving, and I didn't really want to bore you showing you the exact same thing again. So what I did is just went ahead and skipped to the next section where I do the actual cutout of the letters and the logo itself. I think that will be a little bit more interesting, and I want to be able to show you some little details with the tabs again that needed to be worked out. Okay, it's time to set this one up to carve. And everything is set now except for putting this in place and the tabs. And I wanted to show you a close-up of the tabs. Now the first thing I'm going to do is zoom in right here to this one, and then let's get up close. There's 4 tabs there, and we don't need 4 tabs. So I'm going to change that to 2, and then I'm going to put them in a better position. I'm going to slide it right there. I'm going to take this one and slide it over. Let's slide it right about here. And that will take care of it. Same thing on this one. I don't need 4 tabs. So we're going to change that to 2. And then I'm going to put this also in a better place. You want the tabs in a fairly straight area. So I'm going to put it right there. Now, let's zoom out a little bit and catch the next section. This one is showing the tabs, and again I'm going to reduce it to 2. And I'm going to put 1 over on this side, 1 on the other side. So all of those have been selected. Now we still have some tabs down here at the bottom. So let's go ahead and find the tabs. There's one right there. Let's zoom in a little bit closer. There's one right here at a very awkward position. So we're going to slide that up right into here. That actually is okay. So let's slide up now to the top half. That's what we're carving out first. We've got one up here and we've got one over here. And I'm going to slide that right over in this spot. That should be good. So the tabs are now taken care of. I'm going to zoom out and we'll put this back in place. And again, all I have to do is get it close here, go over to my shape and type in 0 on the y-axis, and that slides it up right in place. So now with our tabs set, everything is ready to go. And let's go ahead and cut this out. Now I really don't want to bore you with the entire cutout, but just a quick look to show you that it's cutting exactly on the line and doing an excellent job. That's my whole point of this process. Now in looking at that, you see that little bitty cutout right there. That I had missed when I was setting up the 16 inches on my reference. But you can see that it still went ahead and cut it exactly the way it should be. Those are the type of things that I actually like to avoid. And that's why I want to be able to have my reference point on as clean, straight of a point as you can. Now you can see a lot of fuzzies on this. That's okay, it sands off very easily. Now before I take this off of the table, I want to be able to show you just how well this matched up. I'm coming right into that point right there, and you can see how that lined up absolutely perfectly. Coming over to this spot, then over to this one. I have like a little tab right there that didn't cut, but that's easy to take care of. And then coming over to the other side, that just looks fantastic. So my point on this is, with a little bit of practice, you can use the tiling method and get it to line up absolutely, virtually perfectly. And the other thing is, now I was using 21 inches before, but you can literally use any measurement that you want to do the tiling. And you want to try to find a place that's fairly easy. And when I set this up, I missed this little point. That's actually kind of difficult. But if you look at this logo, there's really not too many good places to be able to cut this and tile it without running into some type of problem. So I hope you can see that this one turned out exceptionally well. So after just a very few minutes with the sandpaper, this cleaned up extremely nice, and I think it's going to look fantastic once it's painted. Hi everyone, thank you for watching my video today. If you like the video, please go ahead and hit the subscribe button down below and the little bell next to it so you'll be notified on the different videos that I upload. Also, check out the videos over here to be able to stay up to date on the happenings in my shop. So again, thank you for watching my videos.